everybody, and thanks for watching. This is Linda Bartolucci with inkstampandscrap.com, and I really appreciate you tuning in. Today I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy card. We're going to use two new stamp sets. The Bloom by Bloom stamp set is a photopolymer stamp set, and it can be found in the 2019 Occasions catalog. And so can the Itty Bitty Birthdays stamp set, but it's a cling stamp set, so a little bit different style of stamps. And it can also be found in the 2019 Occasions stamp set. The perishable items that you're going to need, the cardstock that you're only going to use for this card, are a piece of white and a piece of Grapefruit Grove that have been cut by our rectangle stitched dies. And then, oh, that's an extra just in case I mess up. I have just a scrap piece of Whisper White, and then I have a 4 by 5 1/4 that's going to go on the inside of the card. And I've already embossed another 4 by 5 1/4 with the new dot embossing folder that I thought I had out here, but I will go grab it and make sure you get to see it. And then I have a piece of Grapefruit Grove that I've already scored in the middle and folded in half, but it started out 11 by 4 1/4 for the base of the card. For the stamps that you're going to need the big flower, the large leaf from the Happiness Blooms, or sorry, Bloom by Bloom. Happiness Blooms is the designer series paper. And then you're going to need two stamps from Itty Bitty Birthdays. For the inside of the card, we're going to use this bold Happy Birthday. And for the outside of the card, we're going to use Time to Celebrate. You're also going to need a paper piercer or some other tool you like to get our glued adhesive backed jewels off their little resting place here. I like to use a paper piercer. And then you're going to need the, if you want to copy exactly, the Granny Applesmith, Grapefruit Grove, and Tuxedo Black Memento ink pads. So that runs through the gamut of materials. Let's get started. So the first thing that you're going to do is we're going to do our stamping. And that's going to be done on the small rectangle that I already die cut. So the first stamping that we're going to do is with the photopolymer stamps. And in order to do that, I want to bring in my, much dusty. Let's see if I can clean that off. Not really. I need a Swiffer that's not nearby to do that. So I'm going to tuck this in the corner. The reason that I put this Stampin' Up! Pad down, it comes with your Stamparatus, and that's the extra lift that you need when you use our photopolymer or pure clear stamps. So the flower I already have set up. I'm going to ink it up with Grapefruit Grove. Just going to tap it on there. And the fun thing about the Stamparatus is that if it doesn't come out perfect the first time, then I can stamp it again. I can already see that that might be an issue there. So let's lift this up. Yep, it's an issue. Okay. So we're going to ink it all up again. And that looks better, not so bubbly. I think we're good. Huh. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to grab my handy blender pen. You can see I actually was working with the Granny Applesmith when I was making other cards. So I'm going to just use my blender pen. It's now running clear. You can see right there that's clear. So I'm just going to tap it in my Grapefruit Grove ink pad, and then I'm just going to really lightly fill in this little part here that just doesn't seem to want to cooperate today. Now I can tell you I made a bunch of these cards and they all cooperated just fine. So I'm sure it's that curse of being on camera that makes it happen that way. All I'm doing now is just cleaning this off, so if I need it for the green, I'm ready to go. All right, so now let's do the green. I already have this set up with my greeting, and on the other side I have my leaf all set up. So I'm just going to flip that over. I'm going to close up my Grapefruit Grove because I'm done with that. And I'm going to use the Granny Applesmith, or I always want to call it Granny Applesmith, but it's Granny Apple Green. Just think of a Granny Smith apple. So I'm going to get that nice and inked up, and I'm going to bring it in here. And you can see, because I had already set this up, that the stem is nicely lined up with the flower. It's all ready to go. Oh, look at that. Much better. I think I'm going to go one more time. It's a little spotty there, but I think it's going to be just fine. We'll make it just a little bit darker. That's what's fun about a Stamparatus. There we go. Okay, I like that a lot. And I'm gonna, oh, yes, I'm gonna pull that away. Didn't want to mess it up. Okay, so now, because this stamp, the next one that I'm gonna use, is a cling stamp, that means that it's definitely going to stay on this plate, because the new cling stamps have that extra stick on the sticker part of the stamp. But it also means that I can, there we go. I've already mounted it on there, and I'm ready to stamp it. It's going to stamp right about here, so I'm just going to put my magnet there. I'm going to close up my Granny Apple Green pad, and I'm going to get my memento out and just ink that up. There we go, and bring it right over. So a little tip for you when you're using the Stamparatus and you're doing mass producing of a card, or you just want to be able to go back and forth. I like to stamp, I'll set some stamps up here like I did, like the flower and the leaves, but then the greeting, I didn't want to bring it in right here because it just gets too crazy on these plates. So I like to either line it up in the corner, or I come all the way over to the edge of this numbered plate. It just helps me to, I just use those two positions for a lot of my card layers when I'm using the Stamparatus, and it helps a bit. All right, so now we can tuck this under here and close up our ink pad, and we're ready to start assembling this. I'm going to keep this stamp, and I'm not going to close this down because I'll get ink everywhere. I'm just going to set this aside. So now let's bring in the other materials for this card. We have the embossed piece, and we have the not embossed piece, and then we have this extra scrap, and that's what I'm going to use for my greeting. So now I'm going to grab my extra piece of Whisper White cardstock and my happy birthday, and I'm going to stamp that. And the reason that I want to do this is I just want to see if I stamp this down perfectly straight down here, because sometimes you think you've got it straight. Oh, I actually do this time. All right, cool. So now I know I'm good. So I can bring in what will be, so this is just a little extra piece of white cardstock that I have. I'll use that again and again to test stamps and stuff. I want the happy birthday and at the bottom corner of this card. So when you open it, it's going to say happy birthday on the bottom, and you can write whatever you want to write. Nice, there we go. A little off, could have been a little darker, but you know what? I'll take it. It's handmade, and as I always tell you, people should be very happy that you took the time to make the card. So I'm going to put this inside my card for starters. There we go. So this is the 4 by 5 1/4 not embossed piece of cardstock. Let's cover this up so I don't end up with a black hand. And then we're going to add our embossed layer, and I'm just using snail to do that. And then this is just going to lay down right in the center of the card. And there we go. And let me just show you, this is the embossing folder. So it's a nice 6 by 6 size, which means you can do the stripes this way or this way on a card front. That's why some of our folders are as big as they are. All right, let's add these two. I'm going to pop this one up just a little bit. So we're going to add some regular size dimensions, not the mini ones. And I'm going to put quite a few because I want this to stay up and level. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Nice. Okay. And then I'm just going to use snail to connect it all. it's going to stick, especially since this is an uneven surface. We're going to center that. And there we go. Now let's bring in those pretty jewels that I showed you at the beginning, along with my paper piercer. And I'm just going to add 3. I don't think this card needs a lot. I think that the dimension of the embossing folder and the bright colors is quite a bit for your eye to focus on. So I'm just going to add 3, 1 of each size, in a little triangle over here, just to give it a little bit of bling, a little bit more pop and fun. And there we go. Time to celebrate. Happy birthday. And you can sign however you'd like. So I hope you liked making this card with me. If you did, give me a thumbs up if you're watching it on YouTube, or leave a comment at the bottom of my blog post, and I hope to see you again soon. Be sure to subscribe to my channel by clicking in the upper left corner so that you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. If you want to know right away when I post something, be sure to click the bell as well. At the bottom of this screen, I posted a couple of related videos that you might be interested in.